Say, what if we can do this? Would you say that each of the gods that influenced the state of mind of these warriors, both the Achaeans and the Trojans, contribute or influence a particular state of mind? If so, could you not then have a list of all of the particular gods mentioned and corresponding to it, the different states of mind?
Yes.
Okay. Therefore, I'm quite interested in knowing, this is a kind of before and after. Does this event of the love going on between these two have any particular influence on what follows and what came before it in respect to the gods and the way they function? Got the question?
Yes.
Now, let me do one more thing as a background. Now, this comes out of Proclus, right? Theology of the Gods. It's cited in various places, especially page 404, 404, 405, from Theology of the Gods. And a summary of it, one-page summary of it, is done very well by our old friend who some of us know, Roseanne, right? His Philosophy of Proclus. He's got a very nice one-page summary of a curious feature. If you don't know this, we made, like I'd like to show you, let me just get it for you first.
What's the name again? God in the meeting?
This work of Proclus is astonishing. And after Thomas Taylor went out of print, of course, and never saw the light of day unless you had a great deal of money, and we had one person who's got a long history and reputation with us, and he took Thomas Taylor's original work and copied page by page by page, and we got it bound together, and that's what we used for many years. And tonight, got a picture of the gentleman.
Yeah.
A good one?
Beautiful.
From Sarah. So, great picture. So this is what Proclus is doing. Right? He's saying, I got news for you. You can take the way the gods function among mankind and the earth as a group. Right? Here they are. And he arranges them this way. He says, look, he's got a principle, and it's a good one, which we've known many times, which is whatever is, has any kind of existence, for it to have existence, at least the minimal thing about it, is there must be some power that holds it together. And as a consequence, to the degree that it has a power and it has the ability, there also proceeds from it an activity. So, existence, power, and activity are the three major themes for anything that is said to have an existence. So the highest level, all the way down to nature, can be understood in terms of these three major ideas. Now, in Proclus and all Platonists, right, pure intellect, right, is often described as Zeus-like. And, or other commentaries would put the word mind in there. Roseanne uses the word mind, but that's okay. Look here. What is it that intellect produces? Right? Ideas, right? Soul, nature. And what Proclus is trying to do, and the Greeks are trying to do, is saying, if you have the ideas and intellect, that's the ideas in the mind of God, right? How can you therefore account for the diversity that you find in nature? Basically, that's the problem. That's the metaphysics. So I said, look here, three things intellect does. It creates ideas, it creates soul, and it creates nature. He does something else quite remarkable. He says, you know what? The role of necessity is essential, sometimes called the fates. Necessity is what links these two together. Now, because necessity is really that power that takes from the idea of living, vitality, life, and generates nature. He says, you can't, it's too big a jump. You need something between the two. He says necessity. And for that to work, he says, you know what? You need to understand 12 gods. These are the gods. Now, this triad
Wow.
is called existence. And existence, pure existence, has a particular kind of power, and that's in the domain of Poseidon. And the consequence of that power, there's a certain activity that follows from it, and that's Hephaestus. So that's the primary. Where is it? Oh, existence, here it is. The same thing is true for power. Power has an existence. Power also can be talked about as a pure power, and it has an activity. Each one of these, then, Demeter is said, therefore, to be the existence of power. Hera is said to personify power itself. Creative power. She represents, therefore, the power of power, right? The power of power, therefore, she represents pure creativity, right? And Artemis, therefore, follows with the activity. In the same way, this, therefore, represents power. Right? From power, there's an activity, which is represented by this triad. Right? The activity, the pure activity, the mind that directs activity, Hermes. Right? It can't function without Aphrodite, because Aphrodite is the kind of power that can be fused with Apollo to return to its source. And therefore, Hermes is philosophy, a lover of philosophy, origin of philosophy, and Hermes. Apollo, dialectic. Aphrodite, love. Because without love, you can't use the mind to pursue the dialectic and use it as activity to discover the true nature of philosophy, which allows you then to comprehend the very nature of the mind of Zeus.
Nice.
Now, all of these gods are in Homer, except one. Right? As we go through Homer, and if we were to do what I suggested, right, you'll find that one name is missing.
Wow.
Curious as it is. Hestia. Now let's talk about these three. Hestia, Athena, and Ares. These are called guardian gods because they keep all of these other gods in continuity. They continue it. She's, of course, the center of solidity, the home, everything akin to that. Right? They're called guardians, but in Propolis they're called guiding gods. They help guide mankind through the struggle to return to the source. Now, again, in Homer, right, all through this, you know what we got? Every god is functioning in Homer's Iliad except Hestia. Homer never mentions Hestia in either the Odyssey or the other. And I know that's true because I read it. Yeah, I did. You don't believe it?
I believe it. I say you have a book.
So look here, going back now. Here we have Zeus, the highest expression, you can call it the very nature of existence, joining with the archetypal image of pure power in a love match. Now, now we want to go back and see what is going on in their loving and all of the discussions that take place. There are a couple of key paragraphs that you'll see go wide. They go beyond this in a very interesting way. And we have a volunteer who said that he's going to research and tell us what it all means later after we set it out. Don't we? See? Right? And so we'll lift a cup in honor of our volunteer.
Excellent.
Under one condition. Remember, you have the right to call on anyone you know except here for help.
Jim?
Well, because I'm very tired and I don't do much work.
Which one is power, which one is activity? On the right or the
Yes.
left in each series?
He is the activity of activity,
Which-
the pure example of activity.
Who? Poseidon?
Pardon?
Who's the activity of activity? Poseidon?
Dialectic. If that's what you're asking.
No, okay, Apollo? Is the activity of activity?
Apollo,
Yeah.
Yes.
see,
Okay, and then Aphrodite would be the power.
yeah, is the language clear? These
No.
three terms? Okay,
Yeah.
look,
The placement.
whatever you're talking about has to have three things, right?
Right.
Each of these things itself can be talked about, can it not?
Absolutely.
So this can be pure existence,
And would that be the Usia?
pure existence. Right? Must yet have some kind of power, and it must be able to do something.
Okay.
Agree?
Got
By the way, you can talk about pure power, can you not? And it has some kind of existence, must it not?
Yeah.
And it must have some kind of power and some kind of activity equally. Therefore, for these to continue, there must be something that makes sure they continue. And those are the guardian, sometimes called guardian gods, or in Proclus are also called guiding mankind helpfully. Because they keep all of this in shape, they continue its function, and the functions therefore can go on and we can join them, and that's the name of the game. I don't know whether that helped answer it.
Yeah, it helped, and overall, in the middle of it, you did help. You answered the simple question earlier.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, skip this, so now we go.
I didn't
Good.
think you answered it.
Well, yeah, I was confused on whether the power or the activity was the gods on the right or the left. And if you're saying the gods on the right of that triangle.
Okay, let's try it together.
The powers on the right.
Okay,
Powers on the right.
together. What would this be?
Existence.
The existence of existence.
Yes.
Yeah.
What would this be?
That would be the
Power
power
of
of
existence.
existence.
What would this be?
The activity of existence.
What would this be?
The
Power-
Existence of
existence
power.
of power.
This would be the power of power. This would be the power of
activity
its
of power.
activity.
The activity of
This would be the
existence.
existence of activity,
Existence of activity.
right? The power of
Of
it,
activity.
Power of activity.
etc.
And the activity of
And this
activity.
keeps it in shape. Another triad.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sorry, what keeps it in shape? What's this?
Because it's not enough of something to be,
triad
if
has
you want it
the
to be
effect.
continuous, you need to explain the power of its continuity or continuity.
Oh, Athena and Hera.
Right? That's wrong. Good.
And then that guardian triad, so then Athena would be the power of.
Yeah.
Would you agree
Of protection.
something may exist for how long? Is that separate? Therefore, this is the device that insists its continuity is ensured on into eternity. Therefore, it's called guardians. They guard the whole structure.
Mhm.
But Proclus also uses the language of guiding as well. So, because this is see, right, man, right, woo. It's a spiritual journey
It's a spiritual journey.
as represented by the God. Okay.
Oh wait, Pierre, before we go on, can I ask you a question, please?
Pardon?
I-
By the way, I left my hearing aids at home, so that's why I'm gonna have to get close to your hearing. Louder?
How do Athena and Ares function as guardian and guiding gods?
Well,
Athena, Ares, and Hestia.
look,
Yeah, I'm not interested in Hestia. She's too easy. All that stability stuff. That's not that I'm not interested in it.
how they function is mythology. Our problem in reading Homer would be, would you not agree that if we outline all the gods in Homer, hey, that's this, do they each represent states of mind?
Yes.
Ah. Is it consistent with this? Can we put it in it?
Yeah.
Can we put the two together?
Indeed.
If you do, you're seeing how someone at, close to 500 AD, 470 AD, takes a look at Homer, and he's a Greek living this thought, and he's saying, I better put this down before the Christians destroy it all. Which they did. They tried everything. It's only a miracle that it survived. That's not the same kind of miracle we're talking about in the Gospel of Mark, right?
See, what I'm wondering is, why do Ares and Athena get priority? Like, guardian and guiding sounds pretty important, especially with the encompassing
Look
the
here.
whole structure
Look
thing.
here.
Why wouldn't
Wouldn't
Zeus
you,
be that?
baloney. Wouldn't you agree you can go in Homer and find all kinds of examples of Ares?
Yes.
Wouldn't he be a good guardian? Hey, you say, come on, come on,
Yes.
come on,
Yes.
do it.
But does that
You
put
don't want an answer from me, I'm just,
does it put Athena above Zeus?
what?
Does it put Athena?
I don't know anything about that.
Okay.
You do it,
All right. All right.
then it's yours.
Yeah, gotcha.
Okay,
Not yours.
shall we get in the book?
Yeah.
Nice intro.
Here we go.
Seriously.
Now, what's nice, you see, about this section is that we really, just to chapter 14, we really get a good look at Poseidon. Homer says, I'm going to dig, this is where we're going to look. Remember, they're brothers, Zeus and Poseidon are brothers. Okay, here we go.
I'm sorry.
Book 14. Just waiting for this.
And remember now, they both of these people, by that I mean the Trojans and the Athenians, have the same, they have the same theology.
They have the same, I'm
Did
sorry,
you say
Same theology.
theology.
Wait a minute. Okay, I'll do it anyhow. I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, go.
Hey, want to try something? What if we decide to read it as if it was meant the way it is written?
How would we do that? Be a good idea, though.
Right, good idea? Okay.
Wait, can you repeat that? What was that?
I'm not going to repeat it for you.
Please.
When you know what I said? Come on. Only if you tell me.
Let's read it
Yeah,
as
right.
if it was written to mean what it meant. Is that?
Nobody does that.
What?
Nobody does that in our culture. You want to know about Homer and the gods? You go up to the shelf and you get a book on mythology, and you get another book by Joe Campbell, who didn't know, and you get another one on Carl Jung, and you know what? It's all a bunch of crap. Under one rule, come on, only on one principle. They're not in the text.
Yeah. That Homer knew what he meant.
They're not in the text. Hey, could anybody be in the text and miss this?
No.
way.
They're out of their mind if they miss that, right?
Right.
The greatest screw in history.
The greatest screw.
Excuse me, lovemaking. I have a background in carpentry, which is why I use that language. Hey, look. Look. I know you think I'm nuts. Look here. Do me a favor, okay? I need another table. And we'll use this chapter to help it out. For each of the heroes mentioned, all right, I would like to know their lineage, right? Who their parents are said to be. Their sons and daughters of what? All right, look here. Right, come on. Now, I need one. Does anybody recall whether Achilles was a hero?
Yes.
Oh, good, good.
Greatest.
His parents?
Peleus, and I don't know the other.
Thetis?
Thetis.
Thetis.
Oh, I think it-
Come on, Thetis, come on, okay?
Peleus and the
Okay,
gods.
that's one. Can you do that for each of the heroes?
I'd like to see that.
Sure. They're every hero is given, that his parentage, his lineage is given. Yes.
Well then, what if we were to read it and say, well, we know how to read stories about the Son of God?
Yeah, right?
We do? I mean, we definitely have a tradition.
Wait a minute, is it-
We know how to read it badly.
Yeah, okay.
We,
But isn't the New Testament about a Son of God?
it is.
What if we were to read this work as if the language was intended to be accepted?
Right.
Then you have two sets of heroes, the Achaeans and the Trojans.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd like to know, in each case, the parentage of each. What would follow if it turns out that all the heroes of the Achaeans have parentages of the gods, but not
Yeah.
the Trojans?
But not the Trojans.
No, just a minor point.
Think simple things when I follow.
See, what would happen if we read it within the tradition of its own language and stay within it? What would that do?
Give us.
Then we'd be
Give
reading
us a fighting chance to
reading the
really
work
understand it.
as it existed at the time, or coming much closer to it,
Yeah.
right?
And we got a problem. How to explain that?
But it would do something, wouldn't it? Okay, in the same way, let me try one more thing. What is Homer's purpose or goal for the Iliad or the Trojan War? Would you agree the opening paragraph is what are we seeing? The will of Zeus. Would you agree all the heroes, everybody in this story, including the gods, they have a will, they have a purpose, they have a goal? What is Zeus's purpose for writing the whole thing? Where can we find it?
Zeus's purpose or Homer's purpose?
I'm the one who has the problem hearing, not him.
Well, you said.
But he wants me to repeat it.
Okay. No, you didn't. No. Okay.
I think he was offering to correct you, actually.
No.
Sit by him.
I'm willing to accept that. We should answer both.
Okay. Hey, Homer did two works, didn't he? The Iliad and the Odyssey. Would you agree that the whole Iliad is a way in which Achilles, the worst of all possible men, becomes the greatest? And therefore he has to discover what kept him as a stinker. Right? Therefore, he has to recover what blocked him. This is his victory, right? Hey, would you agree that after you have a victory, your next problem is returning home with it to face your old friends and family and all those that you know? And the greater the victory, the more you might have a problem getting home with it. That's the Odyssey.
More the risk of sabotage.
This is the Iliad. This is the Odyssey. All the problems of bringing it home. So, in the middle of the Odyssey, he now journeys home, leaves the Phaeacians. And I just got one line I'd like to read for you because it fits what we're doing. Now, Odysseus is in the land of the Phaeacians, and he's hearing a magnificent recital of the war, and it's so vivid that he's reliving it, and he goes through all kinds of turmoil and suffering, hearing about how his friends died and the destruction that went on. And here's the comment. They see him grieving terribly, Odysseus. Hey, tell me why you're grieving so terribly over the Argives, the Achaeans, and the fall of Troy. That was all God's work, weaving ruin there, so it should make a song for men to come. What's it for? To make a song for men to come, to benefit by it. Right? That's the opening line, which our friend Igmar said he was going to look up why the dialogue starts with "Sing, goddess." He's going to tell us what goddess it was.
Yeah, I don't have the answer.
And look up also why it had to be sung. You did promise to do that?
No, but I would. And I would even appreciate a reference.
See, the whole work is started. Sing, goddess of the ruinous wrath that brought upon Achilles, right?
Yes.
What's he doing here? Hey, I'll tell you why the war was going on. It's God's work, weaving ruin, so it should make and become a song for men to come. It's a model for mankind. A model for mankind. Ah. So then the Greeks could look at this as a model, couldn't they? Hey, maybe I can apply it to myself. Because everyone has a battle. Everyone has a goal. Right. So I just wanted to do that because we're going into this section which is pretty heavy and I thought we'd have some fun doing it. So let's get a couple of readers and you play. Get the right one.
Here?
Right. Yeah, one or two?
Well, yes, I do, but
Please.
aside from that, I just want to make a point that saying that it's a model for mankind is not saying who the goddess is, right?
I don't know what a model is for. What are you telling
No,
me a
no,
model is for?
the goddess.
Huh?
Who's the goddess?
Oh, you want to know the answer to the question you're going to look for?
Where am I supposed to
Look,
look?
is that fair?
No.
No, see?
Yes, I do, actually.
Good. How about working?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Now, same rule, if you want to stop the show and say something as it's being read, please jump in, hold the talk. All right, fair enough. Go ahead.
From where?
Well, well, yeah, that's a good question. There's so much good in it. And especially the role of Hera, Poseidon, etc. You pick. Or,
I think you should.
okay, page 331. Pick it up from the.
Give us a line reference, Peter.
And the Lord Marshal Agamemnon said at approximately 70, book 14.
Okay.
Then in turn, the Lord of men Agamemnon spoke to him. Nestor, since now they are fighting beside the grounded vessels, And the wall we built has done us no good, nor the ditch either, where the Danaans endured so much, and their hearts were hopeful it would be a protection to their ships and them, and could not be broken. Then such is the way it must be pleasing to Zeus, who is too strong, that the Achaeans must die here, forgotten and far from Argos. For I knew it, when with full heart he defended the Danaans, and I know it now, when he glorifies these people as if they were blessed gods, and has hobbled our warcraft and our hands' strength. Come then, do as I say, let us all be won over. Let us take all those ships that are beached near the sea in the first line, and haul them down, and row them out on the shining water, and moor them at anchor stones out on the deep water.
Zeus is called mind, right? Don't lose it, right? Go ahead.
I'm at 77. Here it is.
Okay. Now comes the practical thinking. We go into it. Go ahead.
Haul them down, row them out on the shining water, and moor them in anchor stones out on the deep water, until the immortal night comes down, if the Trojans will give over fighting for night's sake. Then we might haul down all the rest of our vessels. There's no shame in running, even by night, from disaster. The man does better who runs from disaster than he who is caught by it. Then looking darkly at him spoke resourceful Odysseus. Son of Atreus, what sort of word escaped your teeth's barrier? Ruinous. I wish you directed some other unworthy army, and were not lord over us. Over us, to whom Zeus has appointed the accomplishing of wars, from our youth, even into our old age until we are dead, each of us. Are you really thus eager to abandon the wide-wayed city of the Trojans, over which we have taken so many sorrows?
You see that? Do that last son of Atreus.
Okay. Son of Atreus, what
Now,
sort
question. Is he summarizing what we would call fate? Go ahead.
Son of Atreus, what sort of word escaped your teeth's barrier? Ruinous. I wish you directed some other unworthy army and were not lord over us. Over us to whom Zeus has appointed the accomplishing of wars. From our youth even into our old age until we are dead, each of us. Are you really thus eager to abandon the wide-wayed city of the Trojans, over which we have taken so many sorrows? Do not say it, for fear some other Achaean might hear this word.
What's the idea there? Come on. Zeus. Our lot from youth to age was given us by Zeus. Danger and war, to wind upon the spindle of our years until we die to the last man. What's their vision?
Dude, that's nice. Difference.
Right? Something has been given to us. That's our fate.
A life of war.
Right?
Fate, yes.
Fate. F-A-T-E, right? Sometimes called necessity. Go ahead.
Do not say it, for fear some other Achaean might hear this word, which could never at all get past the lips of any man who understood inside his heart how to speak soundly, who was a sceptered king, and all the people obeyed him in numbers like those of the Argives, whose lord you are. Now I utterly despise your heart for the thing you have spoken, you who in the very closing of clamorous battle tell us to haul our strong bent ships to the sea, so that even more glory may befall the Trojans who beat us already, and headlong destruction swing our way, since the Achaeans will not hold their battle as the ships are being hauled seaward, but will look about and let go the exaltation of fighting. There, O leader of the people, your plan will be ruin. Then in turn, the lord of men Agamemnon answered him, Odysseus, you have hit me somewhere deep in my feelings with this hard word. But I am not telling the sons of the Achaeans against their will to drag their bent ships down to the water. Now let someone speak who has better counsel than this was. young man or old, and what he says will be to my liking.
Right. Freedom of speech. Right. Right. Go ahead.
Now among them spoke Diomedes of the great war cry. That man is here. We shall not look far for him if you are willing to listen, and not be each astonished in anger against me, because by birth I am the youngest among you. I'm your guy. I also can boast that my generation is of an excellent father, Tydeus, whom now the heaped earth covers over indeed. For there were 3 blameless sons who were born to Portheus, and their home was in Pleuron, and headlong Calydon. Agrios was first, then Milas, and third was Oeneus, the horseman, the father of my father, and in valor beyond the others. But Oeneus stayed in the land while my father was driven and settled in Argos. Such was the will of Zeus and the other immortals.
Yeah. How does he understand it?
Will of Zeus.
It's the will of Zeus. Right.
Yes.
Go ahead.
He married one of the daughters of Adrestus and established a house rich in substance, and plenty of wheat-grown acres were his, with many orchards of fruit trees circled about him, and many herds were his. He surpassed all other Achaeans with the spear. If all this is true, you must have heard of it. Therefore you could not, saying that I was base and unwarlike by birth, dishonor any word that I speak if I speak well. Let us go back to the fighting, wounded as we are. We have to. Once there, we must hold ourselves out of the onfall, clear of the missiles, so that none will add to the wound he has got already. But we shall be there to drive them on.
Okay. Now let's shift to Poseidon. Then another reader would like to play. Barbara? Good.
Sure.
We're on page 334, are we not, in this edition? Or line 130?
Okay, neither did the glorious shaker of the earth from there, Pierre, or from where Ingmar left off.
This was not lost on the God who shakes the earth.
Aha, yes.
Where is that?
It's like right below
Line-
where I just left off.
Line
135. Yes.
Neither did the glorious shaker of the earth keep blind watch, but came among them now in the likeness of an old man, and took hold of Agamemnon, Atreus' son, by the right hand, and spoke to him, and addressed him in winged words. Son of Atreus, I think that now that baleful heart in the breast of Achilles must be happy, as he stares at the slaughter of the Achaeans and their defeat. There is no heart in him, not even a little. Even so may the gods strike him down, let him go to destruction. But with you, the blessed gods are not utterly angry. There will still be a time when the lords of Troy and their counselors shall send dust wide on the plain, and you yourself shall look on them as they take flight for their city away from the ships and the shelters.
By the way, would you call that a miracle? What are we going to call miracles?
That's a good one. Yeah, the Trojans beating a retreat back to their city.
No.
Well,
that
the
what
next paragraph is more
Go ahead.
miracle, don't
Yeah.
you think?
What were you asking about? Okay.
This was not lost. The next paragraph?
Well, I have, so he spoke and swept on over the plain with a huge cry. Like the yell 9,000 men send up, or 10,000 in battle, as they close in the hateful strife of the war god. So huge was the cry, the powerful earth shaker let go from his lungs, and in the heart of every Achaean implanted great strength to carry the battle on and fight without flinching.
See, I
Yes.
have this just one little paragraph.
Ah,
This was not lost on the God who shakes the earth, who now appeared as an old man and walked beside them. What do you want to call that?
A miracle. It's the presence of the God.
Oh, right?
Yeah.
There's some kind of transformation.
Yeah.
Look at, see, I want to see a whole list of them.
It'd be good to do.
And this is one, agree? There are many. Want to see how they're different, you see, and how they're being used. Go ahead, Robert.
Well, okay.
See, now we move from Poseidon to good old Hera.
Okay. Now Hera, she of the golden throne, standing on Olympus's horn, looked out with her eyes and saw at once how Poseidon, who was her very brother, and her lord's brother, was bustling about the battle where men win glory, and her heart was happy. Then she saw Zeus, sitting among the loftiest summit on Ida of the springs, and in her eyes he was hateful. And now the lady ox-eyed Hera was divided in purpose as to how she could beguile the brain in Zeus of the Aegis. And to her mind, this thing appeared to be the best counsel, to array herself in loveliness and go down to Ida. And perhaps he might be taken with desire to lie in love with her.
Okay,
Next,
let
her
me ask
skin.
you a question. Okay. Give me a picture. You're going to direct the film. It's going to be animated.
Okay?
Okay? So, here's Hera,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And she's looking at Zeus.
Mm-hmm.
What does she see? And what does she call him? What's her reaction to what she sees with Zeus?
She says in her eyes he was hateful.
She's pissed.
She's pissed. Because she sees her brother is doing what she wants him to do, what she wants,
Yeah.
and Zeus she sees as possibly blocking it.
I don't know the word odious. Do you? Anyone have a
Hateful.
dictionary?
My translation, hateful. Hating. She hates him.
Oh, thank
She
you.
hates
That's
his
better.
guts.
Right?
Yeah.
So she looks at him and,
Dagger-eyed.
right? What she sees. Right?
Yes.
Thank you. Now I understand.
Okay.
All right.
Because she's seeing the Achaeans being destroyed on the verge of the whole war is nearly over.
Yep.
That's right.
And fighting now by the ships. So she's got to do something.
Yeah.
We're going to see the will of
Hera.
and a plan.
Yes.
Right? Go ahead. And an activity.
Yes.
We got her existence, her power, and her activity. Dave? Yes, go on.
Vic?
Then she saw Zeus sitting among the loftiest summit on Ida of the springs, and in her eyes he was hateful. And now the lady ox-eyed Hera was divided in purpose as to how she could beguile the brain in Zeus of the Aegis. And to her mind this thing appeared to be the best counsel, to array herself in loveliness and go down to Ida, and perhaps he might be taken with desire to lie in love with her next her skin. And she might be able to drift an innocent warm
What the hell is she doing that for?
across his eyelids.
She's just a horny goddess?
No, she doesn't want him to watch what's going on in
No, hey, what is she doing it for? I gotta know. I'm reading the book.
Okay, let's see what it says in the book.
Distract.
I mean, she hates him, therefore she's gonna make love to him. I do. Right, yes. What?
She's mean.
How to distract her lord.
There must
Yeah.
be some reason, should there not?
Yep.
Okay, go ahead.
She went into her, let's see, how she might, well it says, how she might be able to drift an innocent warm sleep across his eyelids and seal his crafty perceptions. She wants to shut down his vision,
Oh.
right? She went into her chamber, where her beloved son Hephaestus had built for her, and closed the leaves in the doorpost snugly with a secret door bar, and no other of the gods could open it. There entering, she drew shut the leaves of the shining door, then first from her adorable body washed away all stains with ambrosia, and next anointed herself with ambrosial sweet olive oil, which stood there in its fragrance beside her, and from which, stirred in the house of Zeus by the golden pavement, a fragrance was shaken forever forth, on earth and in heaven. When with this she had anointed her delicate body, and combed her hair, next with her hands she arranged the shining and lovely and ambrosial curls along her immortal head, and dressed in an ambrosial robe that Athene had made her carefully, smooth and with many figures upon it, and pinned it across her breast with a golden brooch, and circled her waist about with a zone that floated 100 castles. And in the lobes of her carefully pierced ears She put rings with triple drops in mulberry clusters, radiant with beauty. And lovely among goddesses, she veiled her head downward with a sweet fresh veil that glimmered pale like the sunlight. Underneath her shining feet she bound on the fair sandals. Now, when she had clothed her body in all this loveliness, she went out from the chamber and called aside Aphrodite to come away from the rest of the gods and spoke a word to her. Would you do something for me, dear child? If I
Okay,
were to
just
ask
for a
you?
moment. Hey, what does she do? She's connecting, right? And for each of these, you're going to give me a state of mind so we can understand the gods as much as we can. Agree?
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, they look like Artemis, but you've got Hephaestus,
Hephaestus,
Aphrodite, and
Artemis,
Athena.
Athena.
Artemis or
Pardon
Aphrodite?
me, Aphrodite, excuse me.
Yeah, that was the problem I had. Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
And for each, we're going to give you a statement about what?
Yes.
Here?
State of mind.
State of mind. Okay.
That's right.
Yeah. Whoops. Never mind. Okay, would you do something for me, dear child, if I were to ask you? Or would you refuse it? Are you forever angry against me because I defended the Neans while you helped the Trojans? Then the daughter of Zeus, Aphrodite, answered her, Hera, honored goddess, daughter to mighty Kronos, speak forth whatever is in your mind. My heart is urgent to do it if I can, and if it is a thing that can be accomplished. Then, with false, lying purpose, the lady Hera answered her, give me loveliness and desirability, graces with which you overwhelm mortal men and all the immortals. Since I go now to the ends of the generous earth on a visit to Okeanos, whence the gods have risen, and Tethys our mother, who brought me up kindly in their own house, and cared for me, and took me from Rhea, at that time when Zeus of the wide brows drove Kronos underneath the earth and barren water, I shall go to visit these and resolve their division of discord, since now for a long time they have stayed apart from each other, and from the bed of love, since rancor has entered their feelings. Could I win over with persuasion the dear heart within them, and bring them back to their bed to be merged in love with each other? Should I do that, I will be forever called honored by them and beloved. Then in turn Aphrodite, the laughing, answered her, I cannot and I must not deny this thing that you ask for, you who lie in the arms of Zeus, since he is our greatest. She spoke, and from her breasts unbound the elaborate pattern piece sewn, and on it are figured all beguilements and loveliness is figured upon it, and passion of sex is there, and the whispered endearment that steals the heart away, even from the thoughtful. She put this in Hera's hands, and called her by name and spoke to her. Take this zone and hide it away in the fold of your bosom. It is elaborate. All things are figured therein. And I think whatever is your heart's desire shall not go unaccomplished. So she spoke, and the ox-eyed lady Hera smiled on her, and smiling hid the zone away in the fold of her bosom. You want to go further? Yes? No?
Keep going.
So Aphrodite went back into the house, Zeus's daughter, while Hera, in a flash of speed, left the horn of Olympus, and crossed over Pieria and Enathea, the lovely, and overswept the snowy hills of the Thracian riders and their uttermost pinnacles, nor touched the ground with her feet. Then from Athos she crossed over the heaving main sea, and came to Lemnos, and to the city of godlike Thoas. There she encountered Sleep, the brother of Death. She clung fast to his hand, and spoke a word, and called him by name, Sleep, Lord over all mortal men, and all gods. If ever before now you listened to word of mine, so now also do as I ask, and all my days I shall know gratitude. Put to sleep the shining eyes of Zeus under his brows, as soon as I have lain beside him in love. I will give you gifts, a lovely throne, imperishable forever, of gold. My own son, he of the strong arms, Hephaestus, shall make it with careful skill, and make for your feet a footstool on which you can rest your shining feet when you take your pleasure. More?
One more?
Okay. Then Sleep, the still and soft, spoke to her in answer. Hera, honored goddess and daughter of mighty Kronos, any other one of the gods whose race is immortal, I would lightly put to sleep. Even the stream of that river Okeanos.
Okay, I'll tell you what. Now she has to give reasons why she's doing what she's doing to cover her actions. And I'd like to therefore just put that aside and keep going and pick it up from page 339 at about 300, where she now stands before Zeus, beautified. And there's a paragraph I want to focus on. Let's try it.
Okay. Then, with false lying purpose, the Lady Hera answered him, I am going to the ends of the generous earth, on a visit to Okeanos, whence the gods have risen, and Tethys, our mother, who brought me up kindly in their own house, and cared for me. I shall go to visit these, and resolve their division of discord, since now for a long time they have stayed apart from each other, and from the bed of love, since rancor has entered their feelings. In the foothills of Ida of the waters, by Ida of the waters are standing my horses, who will carry me over hard land and water. Only now I have come down here from Olympus for your sake, so you will not be angry with me afterwards if I have gone silently to the house of deep-running Okeanos. The next one you want? For then in turn, Zeus, who gathers the clouds, answered her, Hera, there will be a time afterwards when you can go there as well. But now, let us go to bed and turn to love-making. For never before has love for any goddess or woman so melted about the heart inside me, broken it to submission as now. Not that time when I loved the wife of Ixion, who bore...
Nice.
Yeah.
That's a great love
Yeah,
speech, right?
she loves him. Who bore me fair those, equal of the gods in council. Nor when I loved Acrisius' daughter, sweet-stepping Danae, who bore Perseus to me, preeminent among all men. Nor when I loved the daughter of far-renowned Phoenix, Europa, who bore Minos to me, and Rhadamanthys the godlike. Nor when I loved Semele, or Alcmene in Thebe, when Alcmene bore me a son, Heracles the strong-hearted, while Semele's son was Dionysius, the pleasure of mortals. Not when I loved the queen Demeter of the lovely tresses, nor when it was glorious Leto, nor yourself, so much as now I love you, and the sweet passion has taken hold of me.
What an introduction to Love Me.
Yeah.
No lust as sweet as this for you has ever taken me. He's in a good state, right?
Yeah.
Look here.
Wow.
Wait a minute, that's how he shows her that she is the best of all these that he's
I hope
done.
so.
Yeah.
Nice, Eugene.
Right. And she looks pretty good.
She looks pretty damn good.
Look here. I want to know one thing, okay? Look here. What would a Greek learn from this?
I don't know.
That one paragraph of what Zeus is, we're calling it the family of Zeus or his progeny.
What was the question?
What's he doing there?
Laying out the
What
architecture
does
of
it
the
mean?
heavens.
What is he connecting? What's he sharing? What would the Greek learn from it?
Maybe it's in the text though.
Who are his children?
Well, he's learning that he can make a hierarchy, a hierarchy of love, of
A hierarchy?
of the
It's a
same
hierarchy?
line. Yeah,
That's right.
right.
It proceeds from mortals to immortals, ending with Hera, so you could even, right there, that seems like a order hierarchy already.
Would you agree for each child of Zeus, there's a certain kind of description of each of them? Agree?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Just give me their descriptions. And what do we got?
You got it. Equal of the gods and
Now, different translations do it differently, and therefore we get it from more than one. Got yours, Barbara?
He's got one.
Okay, go ahead.
The first one is Parathus, equal of the gods in council.
See, I have a problem with English, because English wasn't my first language. What's peerless?
It means the best. No, without
Peer.
equal.
He's
Peerless.
That's usually a fisherman who's on a wharf.
Different kind of peer.
No, what other translations call it? Come
Well,
on.
this says equal of the gods. Equal
that's what mine
of the
said,
gods in council.
What does yours say?
I have the same translation as you,
This
Barbara.
says peerless.
That's it?
Right?
Peerless of the gods.
So I want to get all of those. What distinguishes them in this hierarchy? Got them?
Peerless man. What are the attributes of the sons of Zeus in this
And,
paragraph?
And within it, he mentions gods. Agree? In the same description, yes or no? There's a contrast then between, right? Come on, do it. And generated a certain class of sons of gods, yes or no?
yes.
That's right.
Yeah, there's two different kinds of offspring.
Okay? All right. Let's assume you've done it. But you know what? I still want to know, what would that do for a Greek or for us? If you had any questions about these gods or men, what would this tell you? Their relationships, wouldn't it? He's making, is he making intelligible the gods and the heroes of the Greeks in terms of their lineage? Giving them a position, providing you with a structure within which you put them, and then can rank them? Oh, wow. Okay, we need a couple of more paragraphs. You want to do it?
Sure.
Go
From
to this Hera.
Okay, then with false lying purpose, the lady Hera answered him, Most honored son of Kronos, what sort of thing have you spoken? If now your great desire is to lie and love together here on the peaks of Ida, everything can be seen. Then what would happen if some one of the gods everlasting saw us sleeping and went and told all the other immortals of it? I would not simply rise out of bed and go back again into your house, and such a thing would be shameful. No, if this is your heart's desire, if this is your wish, then there is my chamber, which my beloved son Hephaestus has built for me, and closed the leaves and the doorposts snugly. We can go back there and lie down, since bed is your pleasure. Then in turn Zeus, who gathers the clouds, answered her, Hera, do not fear that any mortal or any god will see. So close shall be the golden cloud that I gather about us. Not even Helios can look at us through it, although beyond all others his light has the sharpest vision. So speaking, the son of Kronos caught his wife in his arms. There underneath them the divine earth broke into young fresh grass, and into dewy clover, crocus and hyacinth, so thick and soft they held the hard ground deep away from them. Then they lay down together and drew about them a golden, wonderful cloud, and from it a glimmering dew descended. Should I stop?
Okay, see. Hey, you've all been asked to be an advisor on an animated film dealing with this.
Yes.
All right, so I'd like you to describe, right, give advice to this rather curious bedchamber of Zeus. right? As well as good old. Right now, she's talking, and she says, "But if you must, if this is what you wish, and near your heart, there's my own bedchamber. Hey, you know what? Hephaestus built it, fitted it well, had a nice solid door and door jamb. We could go lie down there. After all, if bed is your pleasure, let's go." Right? Nice bedroom.
Yeah,
Got it? He's going to top the bedroom.
that's right.
So you need a picture of that bedroom, hers, and now Zeus is going to offer one of his own. Right? You're going to contrast it, aren't you? You've been asked to paint it and to draw it and characterize it. Good, good. But the Lord Marshal of the storm cloud said, "No fear. This act will be observed by, right? No fear. This act will be observed by God or man. I shall enshroud it, right? Enshroud us in a golden cloud. Not even Helios could glimpse us through it. And his hot ray, right, is finest at discerning, and it ain't going to get through this golden cloud that I have made." Right? Got it?
It's like a room full of pillows.
And here's Helios. Right? Not even a ray could pierce it. Right?
I like the fact that she's effectively blocked his vision by that strategy, right? She, Hera, in saying that she wanted to be hidden from the eyes of men, has kept Zeus from being able to see out at all.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
I like that.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Well, that is, I wonder, that's interesting.
At this he took his wife in his embrace, and under them earth flowered, delicate grass and clover wet with dew. Right? Hey, these two, they lay down and drew around them the purest vapor of golden cloud. What'd they do? Right? They breathed in the vapor of the golden cloud. What state are they in then?
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
The highest.
The droplets fell away in sunlight sparkling. Soon the father, subjected by love and sleep, lay still. Then the god of sleep came in. Right? There it goes. Okay, look here. What would you call this? He creates a golden cloud that light, the finest ray of the sun, can't pierce. What kind of light is that golden light? Oh, good. Go ahead.
Well, it's got to be brighter than the sun, right? It's
Yes.
got to be dense and light. Well,
Impenetrable.
it's got to be more lighty, more light-filled, or more luminescent than the sun, or the sun's light would penetrate it. It would seem to me. What do you think?
I see.
Now, there's more than one experience of divine luminosity in Homer's Iliad. Right? Got a great one coming. Could this be one of them?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because there is in the Gospel of Mark, chapter 9, the divine luminosity out of which both Moses and Elijah emerged, and they had a dialogue. Right? And hey, you know what? I once gave extra credit when I was teaching this stuff to students who could tell what kind of a dialogue it was and try to explain it in dialogue fashion. Would you think that's worth extra credit? Yeah. Right.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Curious work. Anyhow, hey, and now we're also going to get Achilles later. So what do you make of that? Would you? Oh, you think Todd should go first?
Sure. If Todd has got
I
something.
didn't suggest.
Yeah, you did.
You'll go. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
It's so much better than Mark. I mean, like
We're
it's
not
like,
betting. Go ahead. Okay, go ahead.
it's like the Christians or even Mark. If Mark is like the best among the writers, is hesitant to be beautiful, to be elaborate. It's amazingly different. So he becomes white.
If she represents the power of all creativity, and he, pure mind, what's coming together in a union?
Mind and creativity, pure mind,
And
the highest power
pure
of creativity
activity,
in the
right?
universe.
The most characteristic thing about this is that she represents it ideally.
Yes,
Ah,
I think that's a better direction.
It's power, right? On activity.
Right.
They kind of fade into each other.
What do we need the triangles for?
Huh?
And what do we need the triangles for? Just blur it all up.
Oh, I see how you are. Rigor.
right. What would it be like to sketch out the meaning of pure mind joined by love with pure creativity or power? Right. And he's saying, in coming together with you, I looked at all the other love relationships, and this is far beyond, right? This is the high point. The highest, another hierarchy.
But don't you have to add in? Don't you have to add in the motivation?
No, you do.
Don't you have to add in the motivation driving this pure creativity? Like it's not pure because the power is trying to deceive pure intellect.
Her design
Nice, go Booyah.
overcame. Go ahead.
The pure mind, pure intellect. He was blinded.
Yeah. And that's why we want to know what's going to happen when he wakes up, that he's been seduced. Right?
Yep.
Have you ever had that worry?
Never.
But Peter, what do you do with Nabuya's gripe, though? That she's trying to deceive Zeus, and therefore anybody who's trying to deceive someone else cannot be pure.
The question is certainly important. The higher question now here is, what is the meaning of it? What does that do?
I'm with you.
Look at it.
Yes.
Yes. What does he do with this?
Yes.
Come on, we're only in part of the drama. He then wakes up and he does something, doesn't he?
Right.
To Hera?
I don't know. Let's read it.
Yeah, we did it last week.
Right, so he seduces and then becomes the master of it all. Uh-oh, then he masters what?
The God.
So we've got a couple of pages to go. And that's why, I think I should quit.
Okay,
Because we don't want to work too much, then we, right?
excellent.
Hey, there's been a great suggestion. What do you think of it? There's a new restaurant. It's really reopened. It was closed for quite a while. At the Great Lake Park, right across the street from, why don't you make a statement?
Well, actually, while it is true that I saw this place and took Pierre to it, and he likes it a lot. It's off of Edwards and it is the Golden West and the library, Huntington Beach Library, and the park there. Then Golden West, and then there's another part of the park. Well, it has most easily approached from the side of Edwards. And if you go down Garfield, you take a right, the park will be on your right, you turn at the park, you keep going until you see the restaurant, and park in the parking lot, right?
Where Julie had
So,
away.
It's a beautiful little lake there.
Not at the restaurant, it isn't. But I mean,
What's the restaurant called?
What's it called?
that's part of the park. Right.
It was Alice's.
So we thought it'd be a lot of fun if those of you who wanted, if we had coffee Saturday mornings after a Friday night, just sip coffee and see what comes
Talk
up.
it over, or see what comes up, yeah.
Have dial.
Was Pierre's idea, don't you think?
What's the name of the restaurant?
Very nice.
It's called Lakeview.
Okay. What
Yeah.
time?
And by the way, really very nice prices.
And an outside, there's both an inside niceness to it and Wi-Fi, and then there's a bunch of outside tables on a patio overlooking, if it's warm enough, on a patio overlooking the lake, with all those beautiful trees and eminently approachable.
Very lovely
by car.
place.
So it's
So-
on the same.
Not tomorrow. I got to go to LA tomorrow, but the following weeks I'll be there.
The location is, if you go up Golden West, you will see the horse stables, right?
And when you say
On the
go up,
left.
do you mean go towards
Or,
the beach?
or anywhere. When you go on, you'll see on one side the sports
Yes,
and
that's
the
right.
library, on
Yes.
the other side the horse stables.
Yes.
However, the horse stables are on the Golden West side.
Mm-hmm.
You have to take Ellis to Edwards toward west and then go to Edwards. And then you drop down a hill and you'll have a little throat. And that's where is the throat of several houses, and that goes into
I like Garfield.
the lake.
This is
Garfield's
weird.
more direct.
So it's not in Huntington Beach Park then?
It is in Huntington Beach Park, but there are
It has two parts
sides.
to it.
It's accessible from Edwards.
It's at the bottom of Edwards.
This
Is
stuff's
it,
familiar.
is it possible, I can work with someone on it to drop a little marker on a Google map and just send it out to everybody in
Please.
email?
I don't know the address, but it's really easy to find.
It's
I mean,
the only place
if
there.
one of you who knows where this is, I'm happy to work with you, and you can show me where it is on a map,
Sure.
and then I can send that out to everybody
Put it on
who's interested.
put it on the web.
Yes,
Please do.
Done.
Yeah, and please send it to me, I'll send it out.
thank you.
Organizers.
Okay, coffee time.
But here, if that's pure creativity and power,
So
and he can put into something that will liken to
Well, I thought he was gonna use a word that didn't
pleasure
sound
as
like
well,
he was going to.
where the
He was
purest
talking
of
about
pleasures,
yada, yada, yada.
the purest of pleasures.
Internet.
Like,
So he looked
Yeah.
at some of the
State of
quotes that
mind,
he
the
needed ripped up.
Republic indicates that people can
But-
stay in their bliss.
Yeah.
And thus lose sight, they lose sight of their goal or will. They go to sleep.
Start of the new year here.
Therefore,
I have to.
Well, therefore, even the height, we think we have reached the highest level or highest pleasure, but that can block us from our will, our greatest goals.
yeah.
The other is that later on in Odysseus, he's caught up with a lot of pleasures of the goddesses that block him from a homeward travel.
Good. That's Julia.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay. And what else to do with it.
The question you might ask from this is, then what would it mean for Zeus to reclaim his sovereignty over the whole?
Right.
You going back in the rule.
Right?
That would be,
See, that's where all this is going. This was how to print for years and years and years. We had to make Xerox copies of it and pass it around to the people.
not wanting to leave
Well, also, we
in
have
the
to
dreamland about.
Oh, yeah, that's
So I assume Julie eventually.
Oh, she has it.
You guys have these?
Yeah, I'm sure.
later on.
I was just.
Yeah, but
flipping
Like
through-
parallel.
I feel like they're gonna do that. Beginning Zeus to grow. Carol grow eventually.
Yeah, cool.
This is an extremely compact, therefore, it's not really in one sense, if you know it, it's good.
But not a place to start.
It's tough around. And he leaves out several important things because of
Even before Zeus falls asleep, he's already losing his clarity. His offering to create the cloud, which blocks light.
yeah.
So he's
And therefore, what go ahead, finish your book. Before I say that,
so in a way he's already partly asleep. Yes,
he's already,
he's already partly asleep.
yes, yes, absolutely.
So were you going to say?
Right, I like it.